Today we'll take a look at the Analytics Cloud Sites dashboard. I'm currently logged into my workspace, and you can see that the default landing page is the Sites dashboard, which you can also access from the sidebar under Touchpoints. There are 3 tabs at the top of the Sites dashboard: Overview, Pages, and Interests. The Overview tab features several panels with graphs and charts that provide a quick visual overview of site usage. The Pages tab lists every page on the site and includes the number of unique visitors, the number of views, the average time a visitor spends on a page, the bounce rate, the number of entrances, and the exit percent. We'll take a closer look at Pages in a later video. The last tab is for Interests, and it lists interest topics on the site with the number and percentage of sessions with that interest. You can click on an interest topic to see a list of all of the pages that contain that topic. Let's take a closer look at some of the data panels on the Overview tab. Right at the top, we have the Site Activities panel. This panel shows us some basic information about the site visitors. Under Unique Visitors, we have a bar graph that displays the number of unique site visitors over a given period of time. Sessions per Visitors shows us the average number of sessions a visitor opens. Session duration shows how long the average session lasts. And lastly, bounce rate shows the percentage of visitors who leave the site without moving past the first page they visit. You can also see the trends up or down for each type of data, and this compares it to the previous time frame. In the top right corner of the panel, there's a drop-down that allows us to change the time period for the data. So, instead of 30 days, I can select the last 24 hours, the last 70 days, the last 90 days, so forth, or even set a custom range. We'll see this option to change the time range in all of the other panels. I can also use the day, week, month buttons beside the drop-down to set whether the data shows as individual days, weeks, or months. If I want to see additional data for the unique visitors graph, I can hover over each day to see specific numbers. We get an additional breakdown by anonymous and known visitors, and I can also hover over the legend in the bottom right corner to see only those specific types of visitors. Lastly, I can check the Compare to Previous box to compare whatever time frame I've set to the previous time frame. So in this case, I now see a line graph comparing the previous 30 days to the last 30 days. And once again, hovering over the graph, I can see a comparison of the data. Next up, we have the Top Pages panel. Here, we can see the most visited pages, the most frequent entrance pages, and the exit page percentage. As before, we can change the time frame using the drop-down in the upper right corner. The Acquisitions panel shows us how visitors arrive at our site. The Channels tab shows a general high-level overview, so we can see that most of our arrivals are direct. The Source and Medium tab shows where the visitor starts and the type of link. For example, we see Google search as the source for almost 20% of traffic, and the type of link is referral. We can also look specifically at referrers, which is traffic that comes from another web page. So again, we see that Google is the top referrer. Below that, we have the Visitors by Time and Day panel, which gives us a visual for when the site is most active. We can hover over the time blocks to see specific numbers, and, as before, we can change the time frame and look just at the last 7 days, or at the last year. So broadly, we can see that most people visit our site in the mornings on weekdays. Next, we have the Search Terms and Interest panels. These show the most frequent searches and the topics of most interest to visitors. Search terms are based on search query parameters, which can be customized in settings. The Interest panel, which you'll note is a summary view of the Interest tab we looked at earlier, uses keyword metadata from the pages that visitors view. We can also view visitor data as sessions by location and session technology. For location, we have a world map that gives us a color-coded view of where most visitors are located, as well as a breakdown of top locations. We can hover over the map to see statistics for individual countries. Session technology allows us to see what kind of device visitors use when they visit the site, as well as the most common browsers. So for devices, we see that most people visit the site on desktop, and when I hover over that bar, we see that the majority use a Windows 10 machine. The last panel on the site's dashboard is the cohort analysis. Here, we can see a breakdown of the retention rate of site visitors over a set time frame. We have the option to look at all visitors or only anonymous or known visitors. And we can break this down by day, week, or month. So, if I want to look at all anonymous visitors, broken down by week, I'll see the number of visitors for each day as well as the retention rate for those visitors over the next 6 weeks. So, of the 35,000 between this second week, only 1.4% or 497 visitors were retained over the next 5 weeks. This concludes our look at the Analytics Cloud site's dashboard.